All right, Panther fans. Stu has a non-victory cigar this morning.
Yeah, just
Yeah, no smile. Say, look. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. They didn't play great. New York came out. They played their game. Obviously, 3 games in 4 nights. I would love to have. I would love to know the NHL statistics of teams' record on the at the last game of a back-to-back that came on a 3 game and 4 night trip there. I would love to know the NHL record for teams in that situation because I mean, it happens for us if another team has, that situation. It is as serious. It is just as much of a competitive advantage as it is for teams that play that Thursday night football game. If both teams are worn out, and it showed last night. We just didn't have that jump. ESPN tried to. ESPN, that's the one thing they did do right, was they kept saying, okay, any second now the Panthers are going to kick it into high gear, and we just didn't have the legs for it. Stu,
it wouldn't have been a big deal if 3 games in 4 nights were at home. Where
right,
they only have to drive a half an hour and get into their own beds. But between the traveling and it's a tough gig.
yeah,
I mean, we didn't play bad. We
right,
just didn't play good.
yeah,
And I was afraid after, scoring 8 goals and basically just again turning it up. And they can only
right,
do that so much. And
right.
again, we were playing the Rangers, not
Yeah, not the Jackets.
not that Columbus is a bad team, but the Rangers are one of those 4 or 5 teams that we're competing with for top in
Yeah,
the league. But it sucks because at one point, when we had the lead, I thought we were going to get another one and really take control of the game. But
yep. I
I,
kind of
I
thought that for a second too.
I mean, we both see what's happening with Ekblad and Uyghur. I mean,
Right.
that's a given. And what I said in my text message to you is like, if we're seeing it and everybody else is seeing it, we would think that Burnett's seeing it also, but he's not doing anything about it. That's what
Right.
pisses me off.
Right.
When something's not looking, he moved Huberto back to the Barkov line
Yeah.
because he felt he had to and it was working and blah, blah. He made an adjustment there. Why he doesn't split those two up and make that adjustment just boggles my mind. Forsling would settle Ekblad down.
Yeah.
And and if we do get that Chikrin deal, those two, they have to be split up. I mean, again, I'm a big proponent of the lefty righty combination.
Right.
To begin with, but yeah, if I make any change in the lineup, that's the change I make.
Right. Yeah.
They're making a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and it runs in waves. They have it, they'll have, a few games where they're playing really well, and then they're just getting really careless with the puck. It's really, really weird.
No, it's not weird. The problem is they're trying to be, they're both trying to be Bobby Orr and stick handle and, to do these things that it's just too much. It's like,
right.
Reminds me of, the downfall of Vinny Trocheck, where he was just, puck hog. He was just doing too much by trying to do it by himself, not working as a teammate.
Right.
And, it was so obvious.
Well, then, and also, we talked about this the other day, maybe yesterday, where, with all the minutes that they're playing, and it's not just the number of minutes that they're playing, but I thought about it while I was watching Uyghur 2 or 3 times last night. He's carrying the puck into the zone. He's not passing it off. He's trying to make moves. Then he's losing the puck. Then he's having to haul ass the entire length of the ice back to try to make up for that. And that's exhausting, man. I don't care who you are. You can't do that 25, 27 minutes a night without it affecting your play.
And the other teams have figured that out, and they're playing that dump and chase.
Right.
And eventually, every defense is going to be affected by, basically doing, blue line back, red line back sprints.
Right.
Basically, that's what they're doing. And they have, back-to-back or 3 games in 4 nights, we could see it definitely, had taken its toll. That was last night.
Right.
But aside from that, just the simple, the play that is still replaying in my mind was that Columbus goal where Ekblad tried to stick handle in front of his own net.
Right.
With Patrick Laine and some other player like right on him. That's just has disaster. Bless you.
Thank you.
That has disaster, red flag, disaster, danger zone written all over it. You can't do that.
No.
You want to try and do that in the corner, fine, but in front of your own net, you could see some of these plays happening before they happen.
Right.
And you're right about the Uyghur thing, trying to go in the zone and, he's trying to do a Mike Matheson. It doesn't work.
Exactly. Right.
Doesn't work.
No, he's a defenseman for a reason. And our forwards very rarely just try to carry it all the way in and puck handle and get their own shots there. So
Verhaeghe does that and Vetrano does that. Everybody else pretty much goes in the zone and is looking to pass.
Yep, pretty much.
The other observation with Ekblad is where is his shot?
Right.
Where's the Aaron Ekblad? I'd like to see the stats in the last 10 games of how many Ekblad blasts have been taken on the power play.
Well, he's passing. Go ahead.
His shot is gone away.
Well, you've talked about that, and you said that most likely it's because Hornquist is not in front of the net. We're not really causing a bunch of traffic in front of the net. We're passing it off to Huberdeau, and he's been on such fire that teams, as soon as Huberdeau gets the puck, you see the defense kind of panics, and they don't know what the hell he's going to do, right? So I really think that's the biggest thing, the biggest change that's happened because.
But Reinhardt's in front now.
I
was watching, the replays of the power play. Reinhardt's kind of sort of
right.
Maybe not to the effectiveness of Hornquist, but
yeah.
He's creating traffic in there. It's just something just not right.
Well, we never know. Maybe he's got a shoulder injury, minor, something like that. We don't know.
Anyway, but that's a big problem. That's our number one, as far as the defense goes, that to me is our number one, problem, whatever, to look at, to fix, for this second half of the season.
Right.
You can't mention that without mentioning the fact that Spencer Knight needs to spend a whole year working on his puck handling skills.
Yes.
Because now I would consider him one of the worst goalies in the league handling the puck. He doesn't look comfortable. He looks indecisive. Right. And 9 times out of 10, he's making the wrong decision.
Right.
Where to go with the puck, how to get the puck out. He basically handed it on that tying goal. Who was it? Trying to think who it was. I don't remember who scored the goal, but whatever he did, trying to dump it in the corner, he gave it right away. And then, of course, there was nobody in front to cover whoever was in front. So
yeah.
He definitely caused us. I'm not going to say he lost us the game because he made some incredible saves.
Yes,
but not happy about that. And I don't know what Robbie Tallis and crew are doing. Again, if we see this stuff, they see this stuff.
And even the ESPN announcers came back and mentioned that. As much as I'm not a fan of that, I don't want to get off on that tangent. The only other thing from last night was just obvious that, well, let's talk about Marchment here for a second. He kind of got whooped. he got whooped. But that hit that he took, did you see the hit that he took? He basically got sandwiched. 2 guys hit him at the same time, and he got sandwiched and he went down. And
who, Marchment? Or the hit Marchment threw on Strome?
Oh, no, the hit Marchment threw on Strome was in retaliation for earlier on in the game when 2 guys Marchment had just gotten rid of the puck and they just completely sandwiched him. They both took him down, and he went down. And I think his helmet came off and everything. He had to pick himself back up.
And there was no call.
And there was absolutely no call. So the announcers completely left that part out of the equation when they were talking about his hit on Strom.
Which was borderline too late.
Right. But I think from when I saw that fight that he had, it really looked to me like he was doing everything he could to avoid getting hit in the head. You know, he was really, you know, fighting in an awkward position.
He was not in aggressor mode on that. He was trying to protect himself.
Right.
I just don't understand. I mean, you saw, them showing his, Strom's knuckles and, the black eye. I don't understand. And I texted you right away. In today's hockey, why players fight. I understand why they fight, but unless you're going to rip off the other guy's helmet, it's idiotic, moronic to have a fight when all you're hitting is helmet and or visor.
Right.
I mean, that's how you break hands.
Yep. No, I know.
It's stupid. I mean, I know it's, it's the hockey, part of hockey creed that, you don't let stuff like, hits like that go away. And do we need fighting in hockey? I still think yes, because the refs definitely, they don't do their job.
Right.
Calling the penalties that should be called.
Right.
I mean, quite frankly, I think Marchment deserved a penalty on that Strom hit, either for interference or whatever, because, it wasn't a legal check to the head, but
right.
He gave him a good shot. So,
right.
Well, but yeah, I mean, coming off the concussion that he had that kept him out of whatever, 10, 15 games or whatever it was.
Yeah,
absolutely. He's got no place being in a fight. That's why, have you seen Ekblad in a fight?
Exactly.
Ekblad can't afford to get clocked.
Right. No, and they were still jawing after the fight, which I thought was interesting. And
yeah, I would have loved to have heard that conversation.
Yeah, it was weird. It seemed almost like Marchment was trying to. It was like they were having a regular conversation. They weren't. It didn't look like they were yelling and screaming at each other. It was almost like they were talking about. You could almost imagine Marchment saying, "Hey, dude, I'm not trying to fight you, man. I just had a concussion." You know what I mean? It's just it was different than the body language you usually see between guys on the ice like that.
Yeah. How many times have you seen post fights where the guys are, standing and screaming
screaming at each other?
Yeah.
This was like an amicable divorce or something. It was different.
I think it fired up the Rangers.
Yeah. And look, we just didn't have anything to fire us up. I mean, we took that lead at 2-1, and I think at that point we kind of said, okay, can we get out of here and get to overtime? You know what I mean? We never could turn it back on once they scored. And, we didn't learn anything new last night, and that's okay. We know what our weaknesses are. We know what the issues are. Not worried that we only got 2 goals. We've proven we can beat Shesterkin in the past. And, the 3 games in 4 nights, really, you watched it, the last 4 or 5 minutes, you saw the guys were out there, but they just didn't have the gas in the tank. They just didn't have it, to make it happen. And once they got the 2-goal lead, it was good night. It was over. That's for sure. One thing.
We couldn't stop Panarin. I don't think anybody stopped Panarin once.
No.
He had almost like there was no defense or any players around him. He was just zipping around the zone wherever he wanted. Nobody knocked him on his ass.
Right. And look, if you good.
He's one player
right.
He's one player you have to keep your eye on.
You look at it from our point of view, right? If we're at home and we hadn't played, since Sunday, and in comes Carolina and they just had to play the night before, as the Panthers, we're going to pretty much expect, a big win, and we're going to see stuff like we saw last night with, guys open and everything like that. So, think it's one of those games where when you look at the schedule at the beginning of the season, you look at it, you're like, if we can get a point, okay, but that's not a game where and that is not looking good. One question I have for you, because there's been all this talk about, when Achari comes back and when he fits and everything. We know Luosterainen's faceoff percentage has not been great. But he's kind of tailed off. It's not like he's scoring or really showing up in extreme measure like he was earlier on. And I'm kind of getting the sense
just
that,
a couple of weeks ago. It's just it's been in the last few games,
right,
maybe the
right,
last 3, maybe 4 games.
right.
He's kind of been, I won't say invisible, but
Yeah.
kind of invisible.
I'm just wondering if he's cracked that door open for Achari to get his job back at 4C. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes. I mean,
Especially,
they're gonna get eventually. They're gonna get Achari back in the lineup just to see what goes. I don't know how much of a permanent thing it's going to be. It's definitely going to be a dilemma
right,
for the coaching staff on, who's going to be in when the playoffs start.
right, and we still don't have a permanent top line. we don't. We got Barkov for Hagee and roll the Yahtzee dice. And who's playing up there tonight? I don't know. I said it on the stream yesterday that looking at the assets that we have, because we do have assets that we could trade and not really have it be a huge effect on the team. I kind of get the feeling like Zito might just pick up a really, really good permanent pair for Montour and still bring in a winger like he has with Bennett and Verhaeghe, Reinhardt. I know those were off season, but I still, the more I see where Brunette is making lineup changes, the more I think that Zito's going to go after a winger. Because, like you mentioned, Brunette, and whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, in terms of Brunette, he apparently feels the defensive pairs are fine, but he's still trying to figure out who the hell they'll put up there with Barkov and make it work. So if from what I'm seeing Brunette's moves make, I really am starting to feel like we're going to get a winger, and I don't know who, but that's just my gut feeling.
It's possible. I mean, before you told me that Pavelski has a $7 million hit.
Yeah.
I would have said that would have been a great guy to have, but right. I don't know. And as far as the defense, bringing another defenseman in for Montour, if we bring Chychrun in, then all of the combos get mixed up because Chychrun's not a third pair.
Right.
So, what I would see in my mind, the best possible scenario would be Forsling and Ekblad, Chychrun and Uyghur, and then Gudas and Montour.
Right.
I want Gudas to have more minutes than a third pair.
Right.
We need him out there, and it's more like it's like the mafia. The mafia doesn't have to go around killing people all the time. They just have to be around.
They just have to be right. Yeah, exactly.
You got a couple of 300-pound, 6'6", 300-pound, guys walking around. They don't have to get into fights, and that's good.
Right.
Just his presence alone is enough to intimidate the other team. But
right.
But as far as skill level goes, let's just wait and see what happens. That's I posted something late last night, that I want to wake up one morning and hear that deal's been done and it didn't really cost us a lot, or it didn't cost us what we, everybody's talking about, and then see what happens.
And I don't necessarily disagree. I just feel like for the assets that would cost us Chychrun, we could get Chiro and a winger. That's and then put Chiro down there with Montour, and then we could all we got to do. Well, look, they clearly watched the videos. Let's just keep making videos, telling coach to switch Forsling with Ekblad. I mean, it took 2 months for him to for Q to listen and put Tippett in the top 6 last year. So if we keep bitching about it, by the playoffs, maybe he makes the move. I don't know, but then somebody had brought it up in the stream yesterday about Chikrin and moving pairs around. And, they brought up the possibility of maybe putting Montour up top, which I don't like that idea, number one. And number two, I think coach has pretty much shown us what he thinks about Montour. When we were missing 2 guys, he still left Montour, as the bottom pair most of the time. I think there was the one game where we put Kirsten and Carlson out there at the same time. But I like Montour on that bottom pair. I think he does really, really well that way. He can play his game that way and not get burnt. I don't want anything to do with moving him up. And that's just my personal opinion there. And then
I really like Montour. Have since day one. A lot of people were like, who's this guy? Why'd we get him and whatnot?
Right.
The kid's good. The kid's got, and definitely brings an offensive threat every time he touches the puck.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to go back to the, and again, this is just my personal opinion that I think a lefty-righty defensive combination is
Right.
much more effective
Right.
than a righty-righty.
Right.
Because guys have to turn a certain way, getting a pass or whatnot. And in that lefty-righty combo, it's a natural thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I won't beat a dead horse on that. But
Well,
anyway.
You got anything else?
Yeah. So I think it's important now for the subscribers to this channel. Obviously, we'd love you to hit the like button if you like the videos. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. But it's time to hit that notification button because I'm working on a very special guest to join us in a couple of weeks. A guest that's going to blow the minds of everybody that watches this channel. It's I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this particular person.
Yep.
Or should. And he's agreed to come on the channel. It just has to work out, the logistics of when. So that's all I'll say on that.
Yep,
but
that's all we're saying.
Really stoked.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't expecting a
Right. Yeah. No, that definitely is going to be that's going to be interesting. I don't know how long it's going to last, but however long it's going to last, Stu's going to have a smile on his face a mile wide the entire time. So that's a good thing.
No, I'm just,
yeah.
I mean, anything could change between now and, a couple of weeks, but, my big thing right now, and I'll tell you the same thing, is start thinking of some questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
But, I'm super stoked.
Yeah, no, me too. It's gonna be
right from that, and this will be good because we're gonna be coming out of the break.
Right.
I guess you and I will have to come up with something to talk about.
Yeah.
No, we're not gonna leave everybody hanging, but we can maybe play the
we've got a lot of people that want us to interview them. we've got a lot of fans, from the live stream and stuff like that want us to do this with them. So we'll do some of that. I know.
All right. Well, I can be bribed.
You can be bribed.
Just send it to the Stu Cowell Pocket Society.
Oh, gee.
Donations accepted.
Anyway,
right? So listen, for all those those people that come down on the Cats when we have a loss like we did last night. Again, I posted something. I forget who it was. I think it might have been Karen. Something like, she said, like, we're going into the break still in first place. And I'm like, that's like spot on. I mean,
yeah.
I think we're 13-3-1
Yes.
I think that's how we ended up the last 17 games.
Look,
That's a pretty good percentage.
we've learned a couple of things this first half of the season. There's two things that I know. I don't want to face the Kraken in the Stanley Cup Finals, which I don't think is a big concern. But I'm really, I'm not even going to lie about this. I'm really not interested. Like last year, with the weird divisions, I didn't want anything to do with Soros because he had kind of had our number. I'm really not interested in a Panthers Rangers Eastern Conference Final. Not interested. Number one, they're a bad matchup for us. Don't let anybody lie to you. They're not a good matchup for us, especially with Gallant. Gallant has a been there, done that coach. And number two, just what as Floridians we would have to put up from the New Yorkers if they beat us in the Eastern Conference Finals. Not interested in that either. That's a long summer, people. So whatever magic and juju you all guys got, make sure that we play anybody else from that bracket. I'll take the Canes. Give me Carolina. Not interested in the Rangers. That's what I've seen. I don't like how we play against them. You know, there's just they have whatever energy there is, whatever it is, and maybe it's got something to do with Gallant knowing our players, the top players the way he does. But they have been able to tamper our energy whenever we've played them. Even if we beat them, we really have to bust our ass to beat them. So
I really would have liked to have seen us, this scenario coming off the 9 games in a row, whatever we won before, last night, instead of going to Columbus first. Well, forget about it. We played Saturday. I would have liked to have seen us have a 3-day rest coming off a 3-day, inactivity,
right,
and play the Rangers first, and then
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
and then see what happens instead of coming into the game kind of tired and worn and
and
time. But listen, we don't make the schedule, and
no,
listen, the second half,
right. It goes both ways.
Statistically, the second half, we're supposed to have the easiest schedule as far as, who we're playing, and the fact that a majority of the teams we're playing are not playoff bound.
That's interesting.
But to me, it doesn't matter because, you'd say it 1,000 times. Any team can beat any team on any given night.
Right. Yeah. Right.
The Coyotes beat Colorado last night to end their 18-game winning streak.
Right. Yeah, but
whatever, however many, I think it was 18 home games or whatever.
No, anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah. Even the Kraken can beat us. I mean, look at
I know, right?
Who would have thought that the Kraken would sweep us?
I know.
We're the number 1 team in the league. I don't think they're the last place team. I think Montreal, but they're in the top, the low 3, the worst 3 teams in the league, and they beat us twice, and they beat us handily.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like it was nip and tuck. We just, no doubt. All right, guys. So that'll do it for us for today. So today is Wednesday. I'm gonna have a couple videos.
We're gonna cover the All-Star.
Yeah.
Do the All-Star.
Yeah,
what do you want to do? You want to do a review? Hey, listen, comments, guys. You want us to do a recap of the skills competition? I'd like to do that.
Yeah, well, that's
I mean, the game. The game is pretty much entertainment. I don't really look at the actual game as a competitive thing anymore. But the skills competition is pretty cool. It just it kind of sucks that Barkov is not in there.
Right.
But again, I'm happy anytime that he's able to get some good rest, even though he might not be showing 24 or 5 minutes on the score sheet.
Right.
He takes a lot of abuse.
Oh yeah, no. Did you see last night? When he was getting cross-checked, who was it that was doing that to him? I forget who it was.
DeAndre Miller. maybe.
No, I forget who it was. But they Huberto was basically, it was practically on his stomach. He was trying to get up on his hands and knees,
Oh,
and the guy just kept shoving him in the
yeah,
back.
Huberto. Yeah, they
Yeah,
didn't call that.
and they didn't
And they
call it.
also on the shorthanded goal, the ESP announcers, they made a point of saying Bennett got hacked a couple of times
Right,
coming into the zone, and they let that go.
right, right, right.
So
So yeah,
the referees definitely contributed to that loss. Oh, by the way, ESPN did show a replay of the offside.
when
I know
I mean, I was
yeah,
watching.
they did.
Was it
Um,
later on?
Yeah, no, it was after the goal. I mean, it was really borderline. It's another one of those, like the other night, that offside, Huberto was, clearly offside by
Right.
a full stride.
I mean,
This one was a little closer.
were they showing it? Did they show it? And then, because I watched the replay, I mean, I know they showed Tippett's shot, but are you saying but when they showed Tippett's shot before that, they just showed the
They
entire
didn't
play?
show it a lot of times, but they did replay it at least once, twice. Which
Well, like I said, I
really
had a
cool.
migraine all day.
The NHL Network, when they're on the fly, they I don't know which game it was. Oh, I think it was the Pittsburgh game where they showed 6 different camera angles of the same goal. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
Yeah.
showed it overhead. They showed this way, that way.
Right.
But
Well,
anyway,
yeah, I
I
got a
think
pet
that
peeve.
I think that's all I got,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, we're good.
Oh, you know
Oh,
what?
but-
So it would be fun. So I just made this announcement. And again, guys, it's not like a signed contract,
Right,
this
right.
person could still change their mind, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. But why don't you guys take a guess and see who I've got lined up?
Well, yeah, but even if you get it right, we're not going to tell you. So
That's correct. All right, never mind. Scrap that. I'm just excited because
Yeah,
I know if
Yeah.
this thing happens, you guys are gonna go, holy shit.
now we could run a contest if you guys guess. We'll tell you if somebody guesses after the fact. You can guess now, and then if you were right, yeah.
And what are you gonna give them?
I'll all right. So you guys guess who it's going to be, and if you're right, I'll send you one of my Panther flags. Yeah, yeah. We'll go with that. All right. I'll leave it.
I don't.
And no shipping and handling charges. No, I'm not like that. All right. It's not like you get a free flag, just pay $15 shipping and handling. It's not like that, guys.
But we can't tell anybody if they're
No,
if they're
after.
right
In other words,
anyway,
they guess now. They guess now in the comments, and then, and in fact, we could tweet. You could put a tweet about. I could put a tweet about it. Whatever. They guess now. We don't tell them, and then when the show comes up, whoever had guessed right, then they get a flag. Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
Hopefully only 1 or 2 people guess.
And I'm just really, now that I've put it out there, maybe I should have kept my mouth shut, but I'm really
Well,
hoping
we'll
that-
just end the video so you don't say anything else.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We really appreciate it. We'll keep you busy with content during the break. Don't worry about it.